Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Tiriyet Nashtu Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 6, the glories of Sri Advaita Acharya, text 46 onwards. Param preyasi Lakshmi Hridaya Vasati, Tenu Dasya Sukha Mage Kariya Minati. The most beloved goddess of fortune resides on the chest of Sri Krishna. Yet she too, earnestly praying, begs for the joy of service at his feet. So, previous verses, he says, Nityananda and I are servants of Lord Chaitanya. Nowhere else is there such joy as that which is tasted in this emotion of servitude. So even Lakshmi ji wants to serve Krishna. Dasya bhave anandita parishad gan vidhi bhava naradar shuka sanatan. All the associates of Lord Krishna, such as Brahma, Shiva, Narad, Shuka, Sanatan Kumar, are very pleased in the sentiment of servitude. So everybody, Brahmaji, Shivji, everybody wants to serve. Nityananda Abudhu Sabate Aga, Chaitanya Dasya Preme Harila Pagal. Shri Nityananda, the wandering mendicant, is the foremost of all the associates of Lord Chaitanya. He became mad in the ecstasy of service to Lord Chaitanya. Srivasa Haridas Ramadas Gadadhar Murari Mukunda Chandra Shekhar Vakreshwara Ei Sab Pandit Loka Parama Mahatma Chaitanya Dase Sabai Karai Unmata. Srivas Haridas Ramdas Gadadhar Murari Mukunda Chandra Shekhar and Vakreshwara are all glorious and are all learned scholars, but the sentiment of servitude to Lord Chaitanya makes them mad in ecstasy. Makes them mad in ecstasy. So service is not like they are slaves. They are in ecstasy serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ei mat gai nache kare attahas loke upadeshe hao Chaitanya das. Thus they dance, sing, and laugh like madmen, and they instruct everyone. Just be loving servants of Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Gosai more kare guru gyan, tathafiha mora hai dasa abhiman. The Advaita Acharya thinks, Lord Chaitanya considers me his spiritual master, yet I feel myself to be only his servant. Krishna preme rei ek apurva prabha, Guru sam lagu ke karai dasya bhav. Love for Krishna has this one unique effect. It imbues superiors, equals, and inferiors with the spirit of service to Lord Krishna. And that's why Prabhupada, whenever the term comes bhakti, he said devotional service. There are two kinds of devotional service, the way of Pancharatrika, regulative principles, and the way of Bhagavad, transcendental loving service. The love of Godhead of those engaged in Pancharatrika, regulative principles, depends more or less on the opulent and reverential platform. But the worship of Radha and Krishna is purely on the platform of transcendental love. Even persons who play as the superiors of Krishna also take the chance to offer transcendental loving service to the Lord. The service attitude of the devotees who play the parts of superiors of the Lord is very difficult to understand, but it can be very plainly understood in connection with the super excellence of this particular service to Lord Krishna. A vivid example is the service of Mother Yashoda to Krishna, which is distinct. A vivid example is the service of, in the feature of Narayan, the Lord can accept services only from his associates who play parts in which they are equal to or less than him. So that is the mood of Vaikuntha in Narayan. But in the feature of Lord Krishna, He accepts service very plainly from his fathers, teachers, and other elders who are his superiors, as well as from his equals and his subordinates. This is very wonderful. So this is unique relationship with Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. Ihar pramanashun shastre ravyakyan mahadanubhava jate sudrida praman. For evidence, please listen to the examples described in the revealed scriptures, which are corroborated by the realization of great souls. Anyara kakatha vraje nanda mahashaya tara sama guru krishna rare arke hanaya shuddha vatsalya ishvara gyan nahi tar taha ke preme karay dasya anukar. Although no one is more respected elder for Krishna than Nanda Baba in Braja, who in transcendental paternal love has no knowledge that his son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still, ecstatic love makes him, what to speak of others, feel himself to be a servant of Lord Krishna. Now, servant, Nanda Baba thinking him as servant of Krishna doesn't mean like real servant. As his father also, he wants to take care of Krishna in love and just the word is serve him, but that's a limitation of Hindi and English. In English, it's serve him. In Hindi, it's vatsalya bhav. Take care of him. Teho rati mati mage Krishna racharane tahara shri mukhavani tahate praman. He too prays for attachment and devotion to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, as the words from his own mouth give evidence. Okay, he had asked for devotion to the lotus feet. Shunuddhav Satya Krishna Amaratanaya Teho Ishvara Hena Yadi Tomar Manelaya Tathapita Hate Rahu Mora Manovritti Tomara Ishvara Krishna Haukamora Mati. My dear Uddhav, please hear me. In truth, Krishna is my son, but even if you think that he is God, I would still bear toward him my own feelings for my son. May my mind be attached to your Lord Krishna. And Nanda was saying, in truth, he is my son. If you think he is God, okay, may my mind be attached to your Lord Krishna. Manasu Vrittyo Nashu Krishna Padam Bhujashraya Vacho Abhi Dhyanir Namana Kayastat Prahavanadishu. May our minds be attached to the lotus feet of your Lord Krishna. May our tongues chant his holy names, and may our bodies lie prostrate before him. Karma bhiv brahmya mananam yatra kvapish varechaya mangala chariter danai ratirana Krishna Ishvare. Wherever we wander in the material universe, under the influence of karma by the will of the Lord, may our auspicious activities cause our attraction to Lord Krishna to increase. So these verses from Srimad Bhagavatam were spoken by the denizens of Vrindavan, headed by Maharaj Nanda and his associates, to Uddhav, who had come from Mathura. Shri Damadi Vrajayat Sakhara Nichaya Aishwarya Jnana Hina Keval Sakyan Maya. Lord Krishna's friends in Vrindavan, headed by Shri Dam, have pure fraternal affection for Lord Krishna and have no idea of his opulences. Krishna Sanghe Yuddha Kare Skande Ahar Arohan Tara Dasya Bhave Kare Charana Sevan. Although they fight with him and climb upon his shoulders, they worship his lotus feet in a spirit of servitude. So these are his friends, headed by Sridhar. Pada Sambahanam Chakru Kechit Tasya Mahatma Aparehat Papamano Vyajane Sam Vijayan. Some of the friends of Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, massaged his feet, and others whose sinful reactions had been destroyed fanned him with handheld fans. This verse quoted from Bhagavatam describes how Lord Krishna and Lord Balram were playing with the cowherd boys before killing Dhenukasur in the Thalava. Krishnera preyasi vrajayat gopi gana yar pad dhuli kare uddhava prarthana. Yan sabha ya sabha rupare Krishnera priya nahiyan tahara apna ke kare dasi avima. Even the beloved girlfriends of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan, the gopis, the dust of whose feet were desired by Sri Uddhava and were more dear to Krishna than anyone else, regard themselves as Krishna's maidservants. Vraja Janarti Hanveer Vraja. Okay, this is from Gopi Gita. Vrajanarti Hanveer Yoshitam Nija Jana Smaya Dham Sanna Smita Bhaj Sakhe Bhavat Kinkari Svano Jalaruhananam Charudarshaya. O Lord, remover of the afflictions of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, O hero of all women, O Lord who destroyed the pride of your devotees by your sweet, gentle smile. O friend, we are your maid servants. Please fulfill our desires and show us your attractive lotus face. So this verse in connection with the Ras dance of Krishna with the gopis is quoted from Bhagavad. When Krishna disappeared from his companions in the courts of dancing, the gopis sang like this in separation from Krishna. Api bat madhupuryam arya putra adhunasate smarati sa pitri gehan somya bandhum jagupa kvachidapi sa kathan kinkarinam grinita bhujam aguru sugandham murdhani adhasyat kadana. O Uddhav, it is indeed regrettable that Krishna resides in Mathura. Does he remember his father's household affairs and his friends, the cowherd boys, so great soul? Does he ever talk about us, his maid servants? When will he lay on our heads his agru-scented hand? This verse appears in Srimad Bhagavatam in the section known as Brahmar Gita. When Uddhav came to Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani, in complete separation from Krishna, sang like this. Tasabar katha raho Srimati Radhika, Sava haite sakalanche paramadhika. Teho yar dasi haina sevena charan, yara prema gune Krishna, vadha nukshan. What to speak of other gopis, even Sri Radhika, who in every respect is the most elevated of them all and who has bound Sri Krishna forever by her loving attributes, serves his feet as his maid servant. And great part is Krishna likes to serve Radharani's lotus feet also. That's a beautiful verse from Gita Govinda by Jayadev Goswami. In fact, that was the time Jayadev Goswami got the inspiration to write that shloka, Devi Pad Pallavam Mudaram. I'm forgetting the rest of the shloka. That please, you keep your lotus feet on my head. Krishna is asking Radharani. But then Jayadev Goswami, he thought, no, this is not right. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. And how can he ask Radharani to put her lotus feet on Krishna's head? So he just scratched that shloka and then went for bathing in Ganges and told his wife that I'll come back and have my lunch. So Jayadev Goswami went and his wife was cooking, and all of a sudden she heard the knock on the door. And she opened the door and Jayadev Goswami was there, all wet, and I said, you came back so soon? What happened? Oh, he said, oh, I thought of whatever I was writing, so I just wanted to finish. So Krishna came in the form of Jayadev Goswami, went to the room of Jayadev Goswami and completed that verse. Whatever was cutoff or cutting Jaydev Goswami had done, he removed it and he made sure that verse was perfectly written. And then Jaydev Goswami's wife, she said, well, lunch is ready, why don't you have it? And Krishna had lunch, and he said, okay, I have to go, I'll be right back. Then wife was eating after Jaydev Goswami had eaten and he left. And then while she was eating, Jaydev Goswami came and he knocked at the door. And wife was surprised, who came at this time? And he opened the door and Jaydev Goswami was there. And she said, oh, you came back again so soon? Jaydev Goswami, what do you mean came back again? I went for bath and now I'm coming back. But when Jaydev Goswami came in and he saw his wife was eating, she said, what's going on? How come you're eating and you haven't fed me? Normally in the household, husbands eat first and then wives eat. And wife was completely surprised. You just ate and you left? Jaydev Goswami, what are you talking about? I just came back from taking bath. They both were surprised. What is this happening? They were confused. And Jaydev Goswami said, okay, what happened? She said, you came and then you said, I want to finish what I was writing. And then you wrote, you finished, and then you came, and then you sat down, you ate your lunch, and then you left. Jaydev Goswami ran towards his room. And the shloka, which he had written and he had struck off, the striking part was gone, and Krishna had completed that shloka. And Jaydev Goswami was so happy, dancing with ecstasy and tears coming from his eyes. He said, Krishna himself came to complete this shloka. That Radharani, you please put your lotus feet on my head. And then he was praising his wife that you served Krishna personally and you are eating his Mahaprasad, so give me some of his Mahaprasad. So this is Krishna. Ha nath ramana preshta kwasi mahabhuja dasyaste kripanaya me sakhe darshay sanniti. O my Lord, O my husband, O most dearly beloved, O mighty armed Lord, where are you? Where are you? O my friend, reveal yourself to your maidservant, who is very much aggrieved by your absence. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam. When the Rasa dance was going on in full swing, Krishna left all the gopis and took only Srimati Radharani with him. At that time, all the gopis lamented, and Srimati Radharani, being proud of her position, requested Krishna to carry her wherever he liked. Then Krishna immediately disappeared from the scene, and Srimati Radharani began to lament in this way. Even she thinks, I am your maid servant, Dasi. Dwarakate Rukmini Adi Yate Mahishi Taharao Apanake Mane Krishna Dasi. In Dwarkadham, all the queens headed by Rukmini also considered themselves maid servants of Lord Krishna. Chadyaya Marpayitum Udyaya Karmukeshu Rajashu Ajaya Bhatta Shekharitangri Ren Ninya Mrigendra Eva Bhagam Ajavi Yuthat Tat Shri Niketa Charno Astu Mamarchanaya. When Jarasandha and other kings' bows and arrows upraised, stood ready to deliver me in charity to Shishupal, he forcibly took me from his midst, as a lion takes its share of goats and sheep. The dust of his lotus feet is therefore the crown of unconquerable soldiers. Dust of his lotus feet is therefore the crown of unconquerable soldiers. This is Krishna. May those lotus feet, which are the shelter of the goddess of fortune, be the object of my worship. So this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Queen Rukmini. Tapascharantim magyaya swapada sparshanashaya Sakyo petyagrahit panim saham tad grih marjani. Knowing me to be performing austerities with the desire to touch his feet, he came with his friend Arjun and accepted my hand. Yet I am but a maid servant, engaged in sweeping the floor of the house of Sri Krishna. So these are all the major queens, 8 queens of Krishna in Dwarka. And everybody is in the same mode that I am just a servant of Krishna, maid servant of Krishna. Like the previous verse, this verse appears in Srimad Bhagavatam in connection with the meeting of the family ladies of Kuru and Yadu dynasties as Samant Panchak or Kurukshetra. At the time of that meeting, the queen of Krishna named Kalindi spoke to Draupadi in this way. Because Draupadi had asked all the queens, how did they meet Krishna? How did Krishna marry you? And this is how they all spoke. And in the end, they say, he is keeping us just like a maid servant. I'm just a maid servant. Nobody said I'm this big queen or this or that. Atma Ramasya tasyema vayam vegriha dasika sarva sanga nivrityadha tapsa cha babhuvim. Through austerity and through renunciation of all attachments, we have become maid servants in the house of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is satisfied in himself. So during the same incident, this verse quoted from Bhagavatam was spoken to Draupadi by a queen of Krishna's named Lakshmana. Anera ki katha bala deva mahashaya yara bhava shuddha sakhya vatsalyadi maya. What to speak of others, even Lord Baldev, the Supreme Personality of God, is full of emotions like pure friendship and paternal love. Although Lord Baldev appeared before the birth of Lord Krishna and is therefore Krishna's worshipable elder brother, he used to act as Krishna's eternal servitor. In the spiritual sky, all the Vaikuntha planets are predominated by the quadruple expansions of Krishna, known as Chaturvyuha. They are direct expansions from Baldev. It's the singularity of the Supreme Lord that everyone in the spiritual sky thinks himself as a servitor of the Lord. According to social convention, one may be superior to Krishna, but factually everyone engages in his service. Therefore, in the spiritual sky or the material sky, in all the different planets, no one is able to supersede Lord Krishna or demand service from him. So no one is able to supersede Lord Krishna or demand service from him. On the contrary, everyone engages in the service of Lord Krishna. As such, the more a person engages in the service of Krishna, the more he is important. And conversely, the more one is bereft of the transcendental service of Krishna, more he invites the bad fortune of material contamination. So this is why Krishna is engaging us in his service, and more we should ask for his service. More and more. In the material world, although materialists want to become one with God or compete with God, everyone directly or indirectly engages in the service of the Lord. Everyone. That's what Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita. Everyone is engaged in service, directly or indirectly. So indirectly means we are serving Maya. Maya is Krishna's energy. So indirectly that is service. Or if we are serving or worshipping demigods, so that's indirect service. Why not serve him directly? The more one is forgetful of the service of Krishna, the more he is considered to be dying. Therefore, when one develops pure Krishna consciousness, he immediately develops his eternal servitorship to Krishna. So this is the whole idea, that we just want to serve him, that's all. And keep on serving him. Serving him means serving him, his expansions, his devotees, his creation, but in the mood that this all belongs to Krishna. And I'm just here to serve them, that's all. Teho apna ke karin das bhavana, Krishna das bhava vinu ache kona jana. He also considers himself a servant of Lord Krishna. Indeed, who is there who does not have this conception of being a servant of Lord Krishna? Sahasra vadane yeho shesha sankarshan dasha deha dhari kare Krishnera sevan. He who is Shesha Sankarshan with his thousands of mouths serves Shri Krishna by assuming 10 forms. So Shesha or Sankarshan serve Krishna by assuming 10 forms. Ananta Brahmande Rudra Sada Shivera Ansha Gunavatara Teho Sarvadeva Avatansha. Rudra, who is an expansion of Sadashiv and who appears in unlimited universes, is also Gunavatar, qualitative incarnation, and is an ornament of all the demigods in the endless universes. There are 11 expansions of Rudra or Lord Shiva. They are as follows: Ajayakapat, Ahibrathan, Virupaksha, Revat, Hara, Bahurupa, Devashreshta, Triambaka, Savitra, Jayanta, Pinaki, and Aparajit. Besides these expansions, there are 8 forms of Rudra called earth, water, fire, air, sky, sun, moon, and Som Yaji. Generally, all these Rudras have 5 faces, 3 eyes, and 10 arms. Sometimes it is found that Rudra is compared to Brahma and considered a living entity. But when Rudra is explained to be a partial expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is compared to Shesha. Lord Shiva is therefore simultaneously an expansion of Lord Vishnu, and in his capacity for annihilating the creation, is one of the living entities. As an expansion of Lord Vishnu, he is called Hara, and he is transcendental to the material qualities. But when he is in touch with Tamoguna, he appears contaminated by the material modes of nature. Appears to be contaminated. He is never contaminated. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam and the Brahma Samhita. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, it is stated that Lord Rudra is always associated with the material nature when she is in the neutral, unmanifested stage. But when the modes of material nature are agitated, he associates with material nature from a distance. In the Brahma Samhita, the relationship between Vishnu and Shiva is compared to that between milk and yogurt. Milk is converted into yogurt by certain additives, but although milk and yogurt have the same ingredients, they have different functions. Similarly, Lord Shiva is an expansion of Lord Vishnu, yet because of his taking part in the annihilation of the cosmic manifestation, he is considered to be changed, like milk converted into yogurt. In the Puranas, it is found that Shiva appears sometimes from the heads of Brahma and sometimes from the head of Vishnu. The annihilator Rudra is born from Sankarshan and the ultimate fire to burn the whole creation. In the Vayu Puran, there is a description of Sadashiv in one of the Vaikuntha planets. That Sadashiv is a direct expansion of Lord Krishna's form for pastimes. It is said that Sadashiv, Lord Shambhu, is an expansion from the Sadashiv in the Vaikuntha planets, Lord Vishnu, and that his consort Mahamaya is an expansion of Rama Devi or Lakshmi. The Mahamaya is the origin or birthplace of material nature. So, some more information about Lord Shiva and Sadashiv also. So Sadashiv, one form of Sadashiv is in Vaikuntha. And Sadashiv that we know of, that the glance of Mahavishnu, personification is Sadashiv. So that Sadashiv is expansion of Vaikuntha Sadashiv. Teho karan Krishnera dasya pratyayasha nirantare kahe Shiva mui Krishna das. He also desires only to be a servant of Lord Krishna. Shri Sadashiv always says, I am a servant of Lord Krishna. So clearly here, we don't want to say anything against Lord Shiva. He's wonderful, great, wonderful personality. But Krishna is Krishna. Everybody else is servant. Krishna preme unmata vivala digamba. Krishna guna lila gai nache niranta. Intoxicated by ecstatic love for Lord Krishna, he becomes overwhelmed and incessantly dances without clothing and sings about Lord Krishna's qualities and pastimes. Pita mata guru saka bhava kena nai, Krishna premera swabhave dasya bhav se karai. All the emotions, whether those of father, mother, teacher, or friend, are full of sentiments of servitude. That is the nature of love of Krishna. Ek Krishna sarva sevya jagata ishvara, arayata sabatara seva kanuchara. Lord Krishna, the one master and Lord of the universe, is worthy of being served by everyone. Indeed, everyone is but a servant of his servants. Das, anudas. Say Krishna avatirna Chaitanya Ishvara Atevara Savatahara Kinkara. That same Lord Krishna has descended as Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone, therefore, is his servant. Keha mane, keha na mane, sab tara dasa, ye na mane tara hai, sahi papinasha. Some accept him, whereas others do not. Yet everyone is a servant. One who does not accept him, however, will be ruined by his sinful activities. When a living entity forgets his constitutional position, he prepares himself to be an enjoyer of the material resources. Sometimes he is also misguided by the thought that service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not absolute engagement. In other words, he thinks that there are many other engagements for a living entity besides the service of the Lord. Such a foolish person does not know that in any position he either directly or indirectly engages in activities of service to the Supreme Lord. Actually, if a person does not engage in the service of the Lord, all inauspicious activities encumber him, because service to the Supreme Lord, Lord Chaitanya, is a constitutional position of the infinitesimal living entities. So if a person does not engage in the service, all inauspicious activities encumber him. But we can only imagine our fortune by mercy of Prabhupada and his followers. We've been given this chance, given this golden opportunity to be able to serve Krishna and also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because a living entity is infinitesimal, the allurement of material enjoyment attracts him, and he tries to enjoy matter, forgetting his constitutional position. But when his dormant Krishna consciousness is awakened, he no longer engages in the service of matter, but engages in the service of the Lord. So when his dormant Krishna consciousness is awakened, dormant means it's there. Everybody is a servant of Krishna. We just have forgotten it. In other words, when one is forgetful of his constitutional position, he appears in the position of the Lord of material nature. Even at that time, he remains a servant of the Supreme Lord, but in an unqualified or contaminated state. So we just need to go from contaminated state of service to pure state of service. Chaitanya das mui, Chaitanya das, Chaitanya das mui, tar daser das. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya and a servant of his servants. Eta bali nache gaye hunkara gambhira, kshane keva sila acharya haina sustira. Saying this, Advaita Prabhu dances and loudly sings. Then at the next moment, he quietly sits down. भक्त अभिमान मूल श्री बलरामे सही भावे अनुगतार अंश गणे. The source of the sentiment of servitude is indeed Lord Balram. The plenary expansions who follow him are all influenced by that ecstasy. तार अवतार की श्री संकर्षण भक्त बलि अभिमान करे सर्वक्षण. Lord Sankarshan, who is one of his incarnations, always considers himself a devotee. तार अवतारान श्रीयुत लक्ष्मण श्री रामेर दास्य तेनो कैलानुक्षण. Another of his incarnations, Lakshman, who is very beautiful and opulent, always serves Lord Ram. Always. Sankarshan avatar karanabdishai tyahar hriday bhakta bhavanuyai. The Vishnu who lies on the causal ocean is an incarnation of Lord Sankarshan, and accordingly, the emotion of being a devotee is always present in his heart. Tahara prakash bheda advaita acharya kaya mano vakyatara bhakti satakarya. Advaita acharya is a separate expansion of it. He always engages in devotional service with his thoughts, words, and actions. Always engages. So basically, Chaitanya Charitamrita is for us to learn, appreciate this devotional service of his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates and his servants, and learn from them how, get inspired by them, how we can also serve Krishna with our thoughts, words, and actions. Vakya kehe moi Chaitanya ranuchara, moi tar bhakta mane bhave nirantara. By his words, he declares, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. Thus, with his mind, he always thinks, I am his devotee. Jala tulsi diya kare kaya te sevan, bhakti prachariya sabha tarila bhuvan. With his body, he worshipped the Lord by offering Ganges water and tulsi leaves, and by preaching devotion service, he delivered the entire universe. He delivered the entire universe. It means he engaged everybody in service of Krishna, of Mahaprabhu. Prithvi dharen yai shesha sankarshan, kaya vyuha kari karen Krishnera sevan. Shesha Sankarshan, who holds all the planets on his heads, expands himself in different bodies to render service to Lord Krishna. Ei sab haya Shri Krishnera avatar, nirantara dekhi sabar bhaktira achar. These are all incarnations of Lord Krishna, yet we always find that they act as devotees. Ei sabha ke shastra kahe bhakta avatar, bhaka avatar pada upari sabara. The scriptures call them incarnations as devotees, bhakta avatar. The position of being such an incarnation is above all others. The Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in different incarnations, but his appearance in the role of a devotee is more beneficial to the conditioned souls than the other incarnations with all their opulences. Sometimes a conditioned soul is bewildered when he tries to understand the incarnation of Godhead with full opulence. Lord Krishna appeared and performed many uncommon activities, and some materialists misunderstood him. But in his appearance as Lord Chaitanya, he did not show much of his opulences, and therefore fewer conditioned souls were bewildered. So that's why Mahaprabhu appeared as a devotee. And here it is that this role of a devotee is more beneficial. Misunderstanding the Lord, many fools consider themselves incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the result is that after leaving the material body, they enter the species of jackals because they've been misidentifying themselves. Persons who cannot understand the real significance of an incarnation must attain such lower species of life as punishment. Conditioned souls who are puffed up by false egoism and who try to become one with the Supreme Lord become Mayavadis. That is why Prabhupada is so heavy against Mayavadis. So I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.